So we were wondering if she also wants to meet the BTS.
I think Ji-Young would faint on the spot if she met BTS. Hi, I'm Kathleen Kim and I play Ji-Young on Sesame Street.
We're going to play a random wheel. But before we start, we would like to show you something that we've prepared for you. I hope you like it.
Oh God.
Oh.
What is it? Okay! Sesame Street!
Yeah.
Game begin.
I was very surprised to see the response over in Korea. I honestly, the response in general has been completely overwhelming. But when my parents started sending me newspaper articles from Korea, I was like, what? Like I was completely surprised. I had no idea. And even I went to go get my haircut today. So I have all these Korean interviews tonight. And even my Korean hairdresser was like, wait, that's what you were talking about last time? He's like, oh, yeah. And he was like bringing over everybody and showing pictures. And it made me feel happy that my parents are kind of understanding what I'm doing, because it's so hard to explain to them why I left production to play with dolls. It just feels very validating because, I spent my whole life not feeling quite Korean enough. And so to have this thing that I very much care about be so wholeheartedly embraced by my home country is, it's very meaningful. It means a lot.
So you've been receiving so much attention from Korea and also like everywhere around the world. It's like, what song would describe your life right now?
No, you can't do this. You gotta give me time to think about that one. Oh man, there's so, I don't, ooh.
Yeah, all the Sesame things are like dropped now, so.
All this, my favorite songs right now, K-pop songs, is Queendom. Maybe that fits. The Red Velvet song. I'm just curious what the other ones even are.
Yeah. To what extent would you say you are quite similar to Ji-Young?
Once the puppeteer puts the puppet on, a part of them, is expressed through the character always. Ji-Young and I are similar in that we're louder than most than people think most Asian women are. We're definitely opinionated and speak our minds. I'd like to think that we're both funny, and I also like rock and roll music. And I do also like tteokbokki a lot. Liz and I were putting together her character bio. She asked me to talk about Korean foods. And I said that tteokbokki was kind of like the equivalent of macaroni and cheese for American kids. It's just like a basic starchy comfort food that like young people like. And that stuck. And so that just became her favorite food. And it is one of my favorite Korean foods.
One of our producers had a question for you about her hair.
About her hair?
Yeah. It's actually called apple hair in Korean. So we were wondering like if that was done on purpose. Like, why is her hair designed like that? Her hairstyle.
What is apple hair? Stem?
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Wow. Well, I will say, because like she has to like rock out so much, having a little bit back helps because, sometimes it gets like all over the place. Yeah.
Were there any other voices that were kind of considered before like choosing Ji-Young's voice?
I started her off very high, and I tried a couple character voices. I tried to get like really high, and they were like, no. Like they wanted her to be almost similar to my voice, because I think so much of what Ji-Young is going to be is like kind of teaching these like real, sort of real lessons. And so they wanted to make her feel just like a real kid and not like having to like a really funny, silly voice. And so it's basically just my voice. It's just higher. It's just, she just sounds younger.
So what was like your focus when developing this character? I have so many questions for you because I've never met a puppeteer in my life. So.
it's ongoing. Like it takes people years to really understand their characters. We had the bio of her being like spunky and fun, but I'm trying to add like other stuff in it to make her like just like a more real kid. Maybe just being a little messy and like not getting the words out in time, and sometimes just talks really loud for no reason. Yeah, just trying to figure out like things that make her like a not prim and proper, but we're still getting to know each other.
Do you have hand movement that is quite specific to Ji-Young, or like?
Oh, to Ji-Young?
Like motion-wise, yeah.
When she's playing her electric guitar, she like, to kind of hide the fact that like we don't really have moving fingers, like I just have her like headbang a lot. And that's to kind of like let the hair sort of, do a lot of the work. But otherwise, not yet. Not yet. There's like specific movements that puppeteers like concentrate on, like like sometimes like somebody's like first starting out, they might do this, but we don't talk like that. We only move the bottom part, so you kind of have to like practice only moving your thumb and making it look more like a person talking. I want to make her feel very specific and real so that kids can relate to her, not just Korean kids, but everybody. If they didn't already have an Asian puppeteer in the canon, I don't know if they would have developed a puppet so quickly.
Oh, Sesame Street. What's your earliest memory of Sesame Street?
Like being able to tell the time because I knew what time Sesame Street was on, even before I knew how to tell time on a clock. Hard to think now because my Korean is so bad, but like growing up, we only spoke Korean in the house, and so I learned a lot of English through Sesame Street. And I loved the puppets, and I loved the way they didn't talk down to kids. It was like fun and magical and funny. And that's what inspired me to go into production. I just didn't know that I would end up on the other side of the camera one day. My husband and I, we took a class for fun. And I thought, this is fun to do on the side. Then 2014, Sesame Street, they had an audition for a puppetry workshop. Submitted. I really didn't think anything would come of it. But I got in, and then that sort of led me here. When this special was first being discussed, they brought in pretty much all the Asian Americans who work at Sesame Street to talk about it. What's your experience? What do you want to see in a special? We didn't know if there would be a puppet or not. And then a couple months later, they're like, yeah, there's a puppet. You're going to be the puppet. I'm like, what?
And the special episode with Ji-Young, there were like also a number of Asian American celebrities and influencers, right? What was it like to work with them?
We loved all the special guests. Padma Lakshmi, who's a food TV personality and a writer, she was like, she's as beautiful and as smart as you know what I mean? Like see her on TV, she just came in just glowing. Melissa King, who was like a winner of Top Chef competition, we all like had crushes on her afterwards. She was so wonderful. Jimlee, like I grew up reading comics, and so I almost cried when he came onto set. I was like, so it was really great.
What about Simu Liu?
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm forgetting like the biggest star that we had. Simu Liu was great. He like was totally ready to play. It's cute because like on Sesame Street, we get all these like big celebrities. And most of them, it doesn't matter how big they are, they get to Sesame Street and they're like, whoa, they're like, oh, there's Oscar's trash can. Oh my gosh, Big Bird, And so he was, even though he's like this huge Hollywood star now, he was so starstruck by getting to meet Big Bird, which is always so cute to see. Spin it. Oh man, I'm seeing BTS on there. I'm very curious about what that's about. Oh.
So we found this picture.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I was wondering like what's happening in the picture? Like what is it about?
So earlier this year I got to play an imaginary friend on Awkwafina's show Nora from Queens. Awkwafina is 5'2", and so they needed someone shorter. So they had reached out to my boss at Sesame Street. Do you guys know any puppeteers? And so he texted me, like, are you available and how tall are you? And so, and then when she found out that I was also an Asian woman, she was so excited. She's like, yes, this is representation. The other part of the story is that the first day that we shot this was the morning after the Atlanta shootings, hearing the news and crying and feeling so angry and sad. And then I got to put on this purple monster and break every stereotype of every hypersexualized Asian woman, and just be like, with Awkwafina, who's also another mold breaker. And it was very therapeutic to just, give it back to everybody who wants to put us in a box of what an Asian American or an Asian woman is supposed to be like. Oh man, I really want to land on BTS because I want to know what that's about.
It is BTS.
Oh, I was like, I had suddenly all these Korean news outlets are like, I'm like, are they going to ask me who my favorite K-pop group is? I think they do. Anyway.
So Ji-Young wants to meet the Lindas. So we were wondering if she also wants to meet the BTS.
I think Ji-Young would faint on the spot if she met BTS. I would freak out. I would faint. But I like Blackpink, and I like Red Velvet is starting to be one of my favorites. I like their vibe. And my daughter likes Twice. Although I don't appreciate how they've been treating Chungyeon lately because of the weight gain. I support you, Chungyeon. You're still my favorite. You're beautiful no matter what. That's real talk right there.
Do you have a favorite member in BTS?
I do. I think it's between Jimin and J-Hope.
Oh, Jimin. Yeah.
He's just magical.
Do you think K-pop stars would appear in Sesame Street someday?
That is the hope. I don't know. But, yeah, my husband jokes about it all the time. He's like, this is how you're going to meet BTS. I'm like, it's not going to happen. Oh my gosh. I almost don't want it to, because I would be like, not know how to act around them. I'd just be like, hello. My Korean is terrible. I'm sorry. I don't know what I would do. But yeah, that would be so much fun. Can you imagine?
Yeah, so we were looking for your Instagram and we found this picture.
Yes.
Just wondering what it is.
Oh, I don't know. I literally found it on the internet a million years ago when I set up my Instagram, and it's just like a little dumpling made out of felt with googly eyes. I probably found this even before I did puppets, and it's just ironic in the eyes, and it looks like a little mandu. So it's just like, I had no idea that would be such a part of, kind of define what I'm doing right now.
I don't know why it keeps going back to your Instagram.
A little puppet mandu.
Yeah.
It's a house.
Yes, it is. So if we can have like a room tour of your place or like a house tour.
Oh, let's do this.
Yeah.
This is a puppet that a very famous puppet builder named Jim Krupa made me for my 40th birthday. The fun part about him is that his eyes move.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Print of the drawing from See Us Coming Together that Jimlee drew of all the characters as superheroes.
Whoa, decorations.
Yeah, the Christmas tree we just put up.
We were wondering if Ji-Young wants anything for like Christmas.
Like BTS, like memorabilia and dolls, maybe. A new hanbok maybe for New Year's.
Do you have like muppets in the house?
I cannot show it, but in these bins over here, we have some puppets, including one that I play on Sesame Street named Elena, who is Julia, the puppet with autism's mother. She's hiding in there.
And lastly, for Ji-Young's fans around the world, we're wondering if she's ever been to Korea yet.
We have not decided that yet,
Okay.
so I don't know.
Does Ji-Young's Halmeoni also watch a lot of K-drama?
Oh gosh, yes, of course she does. And Ji-Young doesn't understand why they're always screaming and crying so much. So she doesn't like them.
We hope that you can come to Korea with Ji-Young someday.
Oh my gosh, that would be crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Any last message?
Ji-Young came together so quickly that there wasn't really time to think about what the response was going to be. We were just trying to make a thing that felt honest to us. You know, at least like for the Asian Americans who worked on the special and in the development of Ji-Young. Still processing it, to be honest. I'm just, you know, I'm just the puppeteer, you know, I just got very lucky. And to be a small part of this initiative has been, it's been really overwhelming. The stories that have been coming in about what this character means to not just Korean Americans, but other Asian Americans has been very touching. And it makes me, it like energizes me to do the work to come and make her a lovable character. Like early on, a woman wrote to Sesame Street. She immigrated to the States when she was very young. Her name was Ji-Young, but no one could say her name and she got made fun of. And so she changed her name to sound more American. She changed her name to Michelle. And then even when she grew up as an adult, she legally changed her name to Michelle. I don't know what her last name is, to be more American, to fit in. And now to have two young kids of her own and see an American character who's Korean, whose name is Ji-Young, and she's accepted and everybody loves her. Like that was really meaningful for her, and I was very moved by that. And there's also already been a couple kids who dressed up like their moms made Ji-Young costumes.
Oh, wow.
And they cosplayed as Ji-Young and like posted pictures on Instagram. There have been other Asian characters in American cartoons and kids shows, but there's something about this 53-year-old institution. It's a very American institution, this show, you know, embracing a Korean character that feels very like validating, I think. We had no idea what the response was going to be. Both, you know, from Asian Americans here, but I truly am shocked and humbled by the response that we've gotten from Korea.